Hello everyone, I am Nitin Lemanjit.
And I'm Jaindu Pereira.
Today we are here at Virana Head Office
To meet someone special, someone who has a vast experience in the field of entrepreneurship.
and so we have decided to meet this special person and see how he has succeeded in life by being an entrepreneur.
So, shall we go?
Yeah, sure, let's go. Okay, so Mr. Dilith, shall we start with your early life? Like, what kind of a person were you when you were in school?
I was very playful, not very disciplined, child who was more interested in extracurricular activities than the main studies as such. So probably I was seen as a troublemaker in school. But I did a lot of other activities, and I was very interested in outside activities than concentrating on the classroom activities.
With all that, what inspired you to become an entrepreneur?
It is like this. First of all, I studied to become I'm talking about throughout my studies in school, we were sort of told by our parents that you have to be a lawyer, my other brother has to become a doctor, two other brothers have to become an engineer, like that. So they put in that the idea, instilled that idea in me that I was the chosen one to become the lawyer. So in the process, when I saw, my father used to take me to the courts and I used to see lawyers. And you both know about lawyers, in your families, your parents. So I realized when I saw them, that was a very sort of mundane activity, and so to say that it never interested me, except for the fact that sometimes when I was taken to courts as a kid, the fact that the lawyers used to shout and talk, and the sort of oratory part of it, that interested me. But in between, I was like always wondering whether I could do something different. So that thing was in my mind. I always wanted to do something different. Also, because my parents are both government servants, obviously the fact that you want to make a little more money, more comforts, and the material achievements, that would have been in my mind for sure. But I really didn't plan to become an entrepreneur. But throughout my life, probably I would have shown entrepreneurial traits in me. Sort of like whatever I do in school, I would take it like not as a normal thing but an exceptional thing, do things differently. And everything I did, even in school or in the university, I did differently. But immediately after my A-levels, waiting for results, I started a small insurance agency. I was helping a friend's father, and that is where I really got the real interest to do something, that I knew this is my trip. I want to be an entrepreneur.
So, with that journey, how did you first set up your business? And if we talk about the challenges, what sort of challenges did you have to face when setting up your first business?
See, I am a organic product, because I never planned to do things. See, I started this insurance thing first, and then from that I went to do tuition. I think that is also an entrepreneurship in a different way. Then in between, I was working in a pharmacy, and then I learned about medicine. Then I did a sort of the wholesale business of pharmaceutical distribution at small scale. So on the go, I was learning things on the go. I was seizing opportunities as they come, never planned. So I was waiting for some opportunity, and see, you can see from insurance to tuition to then run into distribution of medicine. And challenges per se, I would say, always when you are to start a business or an entrepreneurship like this, the first thing what comes to your mind is, how do you get the capital? So in my case, I became lucky. To become an insurance agent, you don't have to have a capital to start with. Then to do tuition, you don't need to have a capital. Then when I started my, like a proper sort of business of this wholesaling of medicine, I had little capital. But more than that, I had that my little social capital. People believed in me to give me things on credit. So that also I didn't have to put much money into it. I think that would have been, if at all, if there was a challenge. Honestly speaking, I really didn't see a big challenge, because I was enjoying this whole process. In the process, I was making money. Then I was reinvesting the money into different things. So I was slowly growing. But my proper business, with a business registration and all that, I started with a friend of mine whom I met at the law faculty. We started Triad. So that is my proper business. So there onwards, of course, we were facing any challenge that anyone would have faced when you are running a formal operation. But I didn't consider them to be challenges, honestly.
As a successful entrepreneur, what strategies did you use to build a strong team?
Nitila.
Nitila,
Yes. If you are to build a strong team, first thing I believe is to get the people to feel that you are a real team member, not a part of a group. You know, there's a concept in management. Also, it is told even in Buddhism. The big difference between a group and a team. Group, they participate and there is no shared dream or a shared objective. In a team, everybody shares it. So, right from the beginning, it was my belief that everybody should feel that we have one dream. So when we started our first company, as I told you, proper company Triad, first employee onwards, we got them to feel that they are really part of a team, to a point that we got them to call us by first name. We are all on equal terms. So that really helped us to put a foundation for the equality, and then they get the feeling, yes, I am very much part of it, and it is a shared dream and shared vision. So then there onwards, we kept building as we were getting more and more people on the same principle of it's a shared dream. That's the whole idea of building a team.
So with the team, how did you manage your finance, the capital you raised, and how did you secure funds for your ventures? I'm pretty much sure you have a lot of businesses. So when starting up those businesses, how did you secure funds and investments, and how did you manage them?
Jayendu, now yours is being the startup club of Ananda College. It is important to note that Buddhism gives the real tips for capital management or the management of capital, and how to sort of do this business in terms of managing finances. Especially if you look at what Lord Buddha said about how to save, which part of it to be protected as capital. So that is the exact theory I used in our business. Eke nibogehiya bunyaya tuikammang payoje chatuttang nidapeya apadasu bhavishyati. Duhikammang payoje means, you keep 2 parts of your wealth when you divide that into 4 for reinvestment. So if you have grown this way, more than the modern philosophy of finance or the practices of finances, this was in my mind all the time. So I kept always reinvesting money, which then would in turn help us to grow our business. So if at all, when you are to be young entrepreneurs one day, or I mean, you're entrepreneurs already, Nitila looks at entrepreneur, the way you are asking these questions itself. However, it is important that you practice these. Then when you practice this simple philosophy, you can grow very fast.
Yeah, so could you share your philosophy on risk-taking and managing your failures in your businesses?
Philosophy of risk-taking.
Risk-taking and managing the
Philosophy
failures.
of risk-taking goes back to again Buddhism. Atalodahama is the principle that Lord Buddha has given to us in terms of managing your life at large and your businesses. Labho alabho. So you have to take, if you have to take risks, you can't expect profits all the time. You have to expect losses also. So that is a simple theory that we apply in our businesses. That is, always there is a worst case scenario. What is the worst case scenario? You will lose all your money. But the best case scenario, you can double the money, you can triple the money, or you can really grow. So when you practice your business philosophy, keeping that concept of tadi gune, as you know, that you will not sort of rattle or whatever in losses, in defeat, then you can take decisions very courageously in life. The worst case, they are going to lose. So what? Well, you have to look at the brighter side of it. So always, the philosophy is simple. When you have a feeling that you can do something, you have to put it to practice and to see if it's going to work. If it's not going to work, you have to only see what's the worst case scenario. How much you can lose or how much trouble that you can get into. That's a simple philosophy.
What are your thoughts about sustainable and ethical business practices in today's business world?
Jayanto, it's like this. There is a big difference between running a business and an entrepreneurship. So if you are running an entrepreneurship, it's a simple philosophy, a simple theory. Entrepreneurs are doing their businesses for their satisfaction, their happiness. So if you are getting involved in anything unethical in an entrepreneurship, that in turn any human being is not going to enjoy, because heart of hearts you know that you have done something which is unethical. So that may give you profits, that may give you money, but that will not give you satisfaction. In actual fact, it is going to give you dissatisfaction. So the ethics in entrepreneurship is an inbuilt, inherent part of entrepreneurship. You can't sort of take ethics out of an entrepreneurship. Ethics are a very much part of it. If you don't have ethics, you are not an entrepreneur. Probably your values may be different from one to another. Jayandu's values may be not my values, but whatever the values that I believe in, I should not compromise in running an entrepreneurship, because that will not give you the satisfaction. As I always say, it is important to understand, and in an entrepreneurship, it is not the end that you are going to enjoy. The final outcome of it. It's not the victory that you're going to enjoy. It's a process that you're going to enjoy. From the very first day, how hard it is, and, little by little that you grow, that you enjoy that process. But whereas if you're just running a business per se, that is something else. That you want to somehow make money. Then ethics don't really matter in running businesses. As we always discuss in Buddhism, it is always Samma Kammanta and Samma Vayama. It's all about the Yahapat, as in the good things that you should do. In turn, you can enjoy life as the outcome of your entrepreneurship. Yes, then you enjoy that. So that is the simple philosophy of it.
Yeah, so Mr. Dilith, how do you handle adversity and the uncertainty in the business world, right? Like we all know that right now our country is going through a huge economical downfall. And you, as a person who's managing like a vast number of businesses, how do you handle it?
Again, I had to go back to that the philosophy of Buddhism. It clearly tells you, no, you don't get defeated, or you don't want to go sort of down in your mind. It's all in the mind. You have to take these as challenges. We had enjoyed the good times, so we really can't expect every time or every day to be good. There are times, good times. So we have done good work. In turn, we have got good profits. And then this in adversity, also you must realize you can't expect the same outcome as in a normal sort of or a good situation. So you have to be patient, and you should not lose your concentration. You should not lose your energy. You should not lose your courage. So you should be able to sustain your sort of power, expecting that the next turn is going to be a good turn. Labo is the next turn. So enjoy the process of difficulty too, and then you will get good results. That is.
So, Mr. Dilith, talking about patience, the question that I'm going to ask you is a question that's there in almost everyone in their minds. So the question is, can anyone become an entrepreneur at any age, be it if he's 50 years old or 20 years old?
Jayadu, it's like this. There are two schools of thinking, or there are two concepts to this. One is that I also believe the entrepreneurship is a latent trait in a human being. The willingness to take risks, right? But in a broad analysis, if you are to apply, every human being is born with this latent talent at some level. So in a 0 to 10 scale, some may be at 10, some may be at 1. It can't be 0. So this entrepreneurship is like really a feeling. You would like to sort of challenge the status quo. Nikhil, you understand? So it's a concept. So every one of us are, in actual fact, are entrepreneurs. But the level may be different. But if you want to sort of at a very young age, you want to be an entrepreneur, which I believe everyone can, you must look at things sort of from your perspective and differently. So that we can call it creativity. You look at things creatively. In a normal situation, normal opportunity or whatever you see, you look at it creatively, differently. Like the way two of you are looking at this startup club of Ananda College. Now, this is the first time that I am, meeting two guys to talk to me about entrepreneurship. So you are looking at it differently. So this itself is a sort of an entrepreneurship. The feeling like that in our lives, whatever the decisions we take, you can apply the theory of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship technically means taking risks to further your objectives and use creativity as a tool. That's it. So use creativity. So it won't stop. Whether you are young, old, or not so young, not so old, it doesn't matter. Anyone can be an entrepreneur at any given time in your life. That's a simple answer, Jayantu.
What core values, what principles did guided you through your decision making in your entrepreneurial journey?
Now, the first core value is the accept of humanity. Is the most important thing in this game, Nithila. Because, as you know, we all do everything to achieve one objective, largely to be happy, right? It's the center or the core of it. whatever we do, leave aside entrepreneurship, whatever we do in life, finally we try to have happiness. Santushti paramang dhana. Correct? So if that is so, humanity is the key element in your life, in the sense you deal with human beings. Unless you really respect humanity as the most important core value in your entrepreneurship, which is now being converted to business activities, you are not going to be happy. So for the selfish reasons to be happy, you have to apply the theory of humanity. In that, you see, first we call them internal customers, the team. So you spread the concept of humanity among the team. Then they respect each other, as told in Singalova the Sutra. You respect another person, then you can expect respect in return. So when you apply that theory, it is unstoppable thing in terms of growing a team. And then in terms of dealing with customers or clients, they understand that this entrepreneurship is all about humanity. It is not that they are just trying to sort of make a super profit out of a client and they are not concerned. So the moment then they start believing that becomes your actually core strength in turn. Then your third things about your suppliers, vendors, then the rest of the stakeholders like the bankers, all of them in your entrepreneurship, they will not be considered to be just suppliers. They're very much part of your entrepreneurship. So then they feel better, they feel important, they are being treated equally. Then that helps you to grow your entity strongly. And they would in fact see a difference between your entrepreneurship and maybe the rest of the businesses that you see. So this is how that you can grow actually.
So Mr. Dilith, in your 30 years of a successful entrepreneurial career, what was the turning point for you to become so successful? Was there any turning point or?
Yes, I would put it this way. It is very much circumstantial for your startup culture, publication, that is important. See, in this journey, you must always expect different types of surprises. Some are negative surprises. Suddenly things happen the way you have never planned it to, face. It happens. And similarly, there are pleasant surprises. Suddenly you get like opportunities that you never thought that you would ever get. So one such opportunity in our real journey of growth, when tried our advertising company, we got the first opportunity in 2004 when we were asked to handle a massive political campaign, which is called Rataperata. It gave us opportunity to try out every possible creative ideas that we possessed. Then we were exposed to handling large budgets. Then we were getting the opportunity to meet all the big decision makers, the president downwards, and of course to use tools as like the complicated research tools. Above all, to make quite a lot of money in one go. So that's the biggest breakthrough that we got, and there onwards that we were really growing, because then that gave us like additional capital all of a sudden, which we were not planning to get.
So the majority of the audience of our school magazine are young people. So what kind of an advice would you give them regarding relationships and choosing relationships and businesses?
I believe strongly another concept.
When it comes to relationships.
Relationships is the most important thing in this game. I believe if you want to be successful, a simple advice is build relationships, as many relationships as possible. irrespective of the size or the wealth or the social strata. Forget everything. Build relationships. You with the lowest person in the society in terms of employment or the wealth or whatever, it doesn't matter, because in this journey of success you don't know when you would need the support of some person at which point. It could be the one who is coming to clean up your classrooms or the watchers, the security guards, to principal, to anyone that you meet in your school life. Everyone is important, and every friend is important. There may be friends who are not as wealthy as some of them, who are not coming from the same strata of your social standards, but every one of them are important. In other words, Nitila, it is about how many people you know. In my view, it is a simple theory that I believe your success and the rate of success is directly linked to the number of people that you know in terms of your day-to-day business management. More people you know, more successful that you could be. So the message to your startup culture is that I can give you: build relationships as much as possible, as many relationships as possible, and make them as close as possible. Of course, it's time management. It's not easy to sort of build relationships with every one of them, but then you can prioritize as we move on, but build relationships. And that is it.
Network is your net worth, like.
Network is your net worth.
Talking about this topic, how did you manage your personal life and your professional life as an entrepreneur?
As an entrepreneur, actually, there's no difference. Personal life as an entrepreneur, probably as a businessman, there may be different two lives. As an entrepreneur, you have to live this life. You can't just segregate it from this is my entrepreneurial life and this is my personal life. It's intertwined. And you must know how to sort of strike a balance of the activities that you engage in and the time that you spend is a different matter. But you must live this one life. It is an entrepreneurial life. Your family, your loved ones are also part of it in a different way. Because otherwise, you can't run a real entrepreneurship. Because you can't just say, till 5 o'clock that you are an entrepreneur, and after 5 you are not. It doesn't work like that. You need to think, you need to engage. So your loved ones are part of it in a different way. I mean, I'm not saying that they have to be part of a business as such, because you tend to think, it's one thing that you enjoy, because you don't sort of enjoy your private life, personal life, and your business is very stressful. You come and you unwillingly do it. Then that is not an entrepreneurship. As much as you like to go and see elephants in Yala, or you like to go and do other watch movies in a theater, this is part of it, and you can't segregate it. Then if you try to segregate it, then you have a personal life, and I always hear that, and how to strike your work-life balance and all that. I don't believe in that. I think we are part of it, and I call it, in fact, all our operations, offices, factories, I call it the second home. It's an extension of your home. And the second home, if you have to say, okay, I have to wake up and, you unwillingly get up and brushing your teeth and, cursing and going to work, then there is a difference, right? Then which means that you have not created an opportunity for people to believe in that vision. And that would sort of maybe coming from, true entrepreneurs like us, and without understanding the concept of entrepreneurship. So the simple thing, Jayendu, is to say that there is no difference. It's one thing and one thing alone, and it's just an extension. And as you finish your work, official work per se, you go home and, you don't just draw a line, right? If you are to sort of take some stuff and go home, and it's perfectly okay as long as you really don't make it a stressful situation and you don't go and put your sort of so-called stress onto the loved ones at home or something. I'm not saying for you to do that, but when you enjoy, this is a hobby. Entrepreneurship it must be your hobby, your main hobby.
So here's another question. If you get a chance to give one piece of advice to a younger self, so let's say I'm 18 years old, for your 18-year-old self, what would that be?
Enjoy. You must enjoy life. To enjoy life, you must, as I mentioned, take this as a hobby, and it's a very enjoyable hobby which gives you super returns in terms of enjoying life, which are some are material, some are emotional. So you get both the elements of happiness, emotional happiness, material happiness. By being an entrepreneur at the age of 18, you must think that you're an entrepreneur. Every one of them. I'm not just telling Nithila and Jayandu. I'm telling every one of them who are part of the startup culture, maybe people who read startup culture, who would be watching this, then or the entrepreneurship club of Ananda College, and then the rest of the schools, and all these young kids should understand life has given you an opportunity. It's in fact equally opportunity. Whether you have got money, your parents can afford more, and some parents can't afford the same amount of money, but you shouldn't think like that. We all have got an equal opportunity. That is why when you read stories or when you meet people, their success stories, some of them are coming from actually situations where they didn't have anything. Some people didn't have anything to eat, but they've been very successful. In Sri Lanka, I know a couple of entrepreneurs who have become very successful, who just didn't have their basic means, the 2 meals or 3 meals that they didn't have. So you can't just say, some people are lucky, some people have got things, people say that, right? That's not true. Every one of us have got an equal opportunity. You must, when you think like that, only you see opportunities. Otherwise, you will always compare yourself with someone who has more things, more opportunities, and then you come to the conclusion, I don't have that opportunity. It's not so. You get a different opportunity. That opportunity may be more opportunity, like a valuable opportunity than a normal opportunity. That's it.
So that brings an end to the questions that we brought here today.
A very big thanks to you, Mr. Dilith, for taking so much of busy time schedule and coming here to be an inspiration again to all the young innovators, entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Visit us on www.startupculture.lk for more exciting content. Thank you.
Thank you, Jayendra. Thank you.